Welcome back, folks, to another episode of the Lonewolf Howlcast. This is Lone Wolf here with Terrell. We were discussing some pop culture tonight, of which would be the new Black Panther movie.
Yeah. Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever. And there was something else that sparked this conversation tonight.
The Woman King.
The Woman King.
And the third season of Umbrella Academy.
And the third season of Umbrella Academy that has pointedly shot itself in the foot. Good for you.
Yeah, I started it up talking about when woke or highly, ideological movies.
You can go with woke. It's a woke culture.
I mean, it goes so far to one side, it comes back on the other and becomes criminal or insane.
Actually, I think I brought that up, and here's why. So season 3 of the Umbrella Academy has Ellen Page becoming Elliot Page because she's suffering delusional fantasies.
She's just trans, man.
I'm not done.
You can't say she's suffering.
Wait, here's the reason why. In the series, if anybody's watched Umbrella Academy, you know the Umbrella Academy family is ultra dysfunctional. Supremely dysfunctional. They don't get along at all. They're borderline hating each other. But lo and behold, here comes season 3, and the Ellen Page character, Vanya, all of a sudden becomes the character Victor. And all of the family members are like, oh, hey, that's cool. Instead of being like, well, what the hell's wrong with you?
Or what happened?
Yeah, what happened? Why are you having this mental breakdown all of a sudden? Instead, literally every character in this dysfunctional family is like, oh, hey, man, that's cool. I got a little brother now.
Yeah, it's definitely a case of where the message supersedes the story because it doesn't follow any of the characters. It doesn't follow the relationships the characters have with each other.
It completely breaks the suspension of disbelief of this dysfunctional, superpowered family that doesn't get along at all.
And who aren't always good people.
It becomes a vehicle of Elliot Page expressing this delusional fantasy of all of a sudden I'm Elliot Page and I'm Victor. And the series tanks because it becomes a vehicle for this instead of being this really cool black noir storytelling of the anti-heroes, dysfunctional anti-heroes who aren't even capable. That it's, you know what? It's almost the same as the Book of Boba Fett, where they accidentally fail upwards.
Yeah.
Because everybody else around them sucks so bad.
Yeah. I personally have no problem with Elliot Page and the Vanya to Victor a story happening, but you got to make it good, and you got to explain it, and you have to set it up, and there has to be a payoff. There has to be all these things. The series just didn't do that.
Right. It happened in episode 2. It was this sudden, I can't think of the words right now, folks.
Whiplash.
I'm sorry. In the interest of transparency, Terrell and I are recording this after an immense dinner party. I know I'm in my cups. I don't think Terrell is as bad as I am.
Yeah, I got to drive.
But it became... Literally, episode 2 was the embracing of this delusional fantasy, and the writing is so bad that the rest of this dysfunctional family is like, oh, hey, cool, fist bump.
I just want to say I have no problems with the story arc or the idea of the story arc, but they just did it so poorly, and it just was jarring and didn't make sense, and there was no payoff. There was no narrative reason for it. There was no setup in the previous seasons.
Right, exactly. And as most of you know, me, Lone Wolf, I'm moderate but right of center, and obviously Terrell is left of center. And I would have been cool with it, I think Terrell would have been cool with it, if it was a build-up to this transition happening, even though Vanya never got the mental help she needed. But it was like, boom, episode 2, surprise, here I am. Let's make this whole season about me. And the whole season is about her.
Which is a very big deficiency. It is. Right. It is.
Because it's no longer about this dysfunctional team coming together.
Doing crazy stuff.
Yeah. Again, like I said, Boba Fett failing upward.
Yeah.
Because they really suck doing what they do.
Now I'm thinking that maybe there won't be a season 4. Boba Fett isn't going to get a season 2.
No. Well, unless... So, Boba Fett Season 1 was really the Mandalorian Season 2.5. So maybe they do a Book of Boba Fett Mandalorian Season 2.75 to regurgitate some interest in it. Because the only reason it picked back up is they brought Pedro Pascal back as the Mandalorian to do some stuff.
I got some thoughts on Andor that I want to talk to you about. It's not outside of what we're talking about today. So
we can throw Andor in here. Andor's been awesome, but we were also... I feel like I'm not the voice because people are going to make assumptions about who I am, about introducing this next topic, but we were talking about Wakanda Forever, and there was another topic that came up about slavery.
The history of slavery.
The history of slavery. So I have been trying to dig deep. I read an article a while ago, and I'm pretty sure it's been woke-washed somehow, but it was pretty much...
I don't agree with that.
A story of an African king when Europeans showed up on African shores, and he was like, well, hey, instead of conquering me... Well, let me sell you these people that I have enslaved, and you take them as slaves, and thus began the slave trade. And for the life of me, I'm trying to find that article right now. The deepest dig I could find is that the Portuguese began the slave trade in Africa, which is ironic because they wouldn't be considered white. They'd be considered semi-Hispanic or pseudo-Hispanic, being Portuguese. And that it was picked up by the Spanish, and the slave trade prospered in Mexico. And I'm going to post links to this so you can bitch. I think we're front of it. You can bitch about it all you want, but there's news articles about this. I got a New York Times article prepped and ready to go.
I love history, and I think slavery has a long
It has a prehistorical.
Yeah, and the framework of how you frame who did what is very key. The context is very key. So I just want to focus on the historical story of that the Woman King said that they were basing the movie out of. The kingdom was Dahomey, was the name of the kingdom.
You need to say that slower, and I think you need to spell it out so people understand that, because it's a non-English name.
It's a non-English name, and the area doesn't exist as a country anymore. So,
just real quick, while you're looking that up, Terrell's looking this up. I used to be a martial arts fighter, and I have yet to land a triple hit blow where I jump in the air and punch one guy and then kick the other guy and then back kick a third assailant while I'm in the air. Now, okay, that's a little Hollywood artistic license, but come on.
So, Dahomey is spelled Dahomey. It was a kingdom for a certain time, and its economy was very much based on raiding other tribes and selling people as slaves, including 1/3 of their own population by the people in charge, the king and queens and whatnot. The movie The Woman King twisted this fact into where the white man wanted to enslave Dahomey people, and the Woman King and her warrior women heroically, saved against, this oppression.
Because of course they did.
And in reality, the French fought Dahomey, the Kingdom of Dahomey, several times because of the slavery. In the end, the end of the movie where they did fight a European nation, that was fact-based. I mean, because this area was in constant conflict. But the fact of the matter is the empire, or the Kingdom of Dahomey, was based on raiding other Africans and then selling it to Europeans. And
which is the same, as I mentioned earlier. I know I read this article. I gotta find it. I'm pretty sure it's been woke-washed. But it was an African king when Europeans arrived on his shores, and he's like, hey, instead of conquering me, well, let me sell you these people from a neighboring nation and leave me alone. And I got to find this article. I know I've read it. Everybody out there in woke land is probably going to call me crazy, but I'm going to find this and I'm going to link it. I'm sorry, Terrell. Continue. I interrupted.
No, I'm just trying to put that. When I was watching The Woman King, I looked at the person I was with and I said, if the intern, the production assistant, took 2 seconds to Wikipedia Dahomey, they would have just realized how absolute batshit this movie script was. And the fact that the movie was advertised and promoted as black empowerment, as women empowerment, as historical and accurate, it goes back to what I was saying before. Like, when you go so far in one direction, you come out the other end. Like, it is incredibly stupid, and it doesn't happen all the time. But when it does happen, I think we gotta laugh at it. We gotta laugh at, like, empowerment movies or empowerment messages that go so crazy they come out making everyone look bad. The other movie is like Wakanda Forever. I went to see it with 2 other black men. I actually liked the trailer. I thought the trailer looked good.
The trailer is cool.
The trailer and action were good. So but I was thinking like, hey, there's a lot of girls in this trailer, but there's not a lot of men. And I was like, oh, what's that about? But you know what? Hey, I like seeing girls. Okay, sure, let me go.
How dare you? Wait a minute. Are you coming out to Raul
as
super... No, not straight. Super straight?
Oh, you know I'm not super straight.
No, you're not super straight. I'm super straight. If I have to do some dummy ass, indulgent, delusional bullshit, say I'm super straight. I have to interrupt Raul real quick. Here's where I was, folks. You know what? I'm going to leave all this in. I'm not even going to edit it because this is a hot take between Thrall and I. Is that you have this nation of Wakanda that is not only modernized, but futuristic and ultra elitist behind this stealth dome.
This is from the first one. This is from the first one.
Right, this is from the first one. And the rest of Africa, according to the Black Panther movie, is they portray it as kind of Stone Age. As like bare bones shepherds.
Yeah.
And there's no technology beyond Wakanda. And they're hoarding it for themselves, which makes it seem very elitist.
The first Wakanda movie was extremely problematic because the villain that they killed, Killmonger, he was right.
Did he actually die?
No, they killed him off.
I don't know, man. It's Marvel.
It was one of the worst mistakes. They killed off Andy Serkis's character, and they killed off Killmonger, and those 2 guys were the best things in the movie.
You know who Andy Serkis makes a comeback as? Kino in Andor. But anyway, continue.
Can we talk about Andor real quick?
Do you want to segue to that, or you want to continue on Black Panther and Wakanda Forever?
So the first Wakanda movie, Chadwick Boseman carries it. He was and he just took your eyes and never let go. And he carried that movie. There's no Chadwick Boseman in this.
It totally sucked. He died from colon cancer. Pancreatic cancer. My apologies, folks. But at such a young age, that was a shame because he was an awesome actor.
Yeah, and to his dying days, he was doing charity work, going to other cancer patients in the hospital. So, I mean, that's the kind of man he was. But the first Black Panther movie was highly problematic because of this thing. And, Killmonger was right. Like, how could we not help all the other people in the world? And then this movie, instead of dealing with the internal conflict that the first movie sets up about Wakanda's relationship to the rest of Africa, to the rest of the world, to even itself, we go on another direction. And
fast take real quick. Dogecoin is up to 9 cents per share. All right, continue.
I remember when Elon Musk had to go up to 70 cents.
Yeah, I know. I freaking missed out, and I could have made like $75,000. So shoot me after this Howlcast, but continue with your take.
This movie completely Wakanda Forever completely sidelines every male character, even when it's glaringly obvious that, hey, this is where this one person should come in. And M'Boku was the rival to Black Panther in the first
Say it again. I just want you to say it more specifically.
M'Boku, I'm probably saying it wrong. He was a rival to Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman's character, in the first one, where they had that trial.
He wasn't... I don't think he was quite a rival, but more like a contrarian.
He was a contrarian, but
he played like the contrarian role. But at the end of the movie, they're like, "Oh, hey, we're best buddies now."
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, they vied to be the number one. You know, and Chadwick Boseman's character T'Challa won. So if T'Challa has passed away,
man, you're gonna lose so much cred. That's not his name.
T'Challa?
I'm pretty sure it's T'Challa with a T.
T'Challa, all right, T'Challa. Just say that Chadwick Boseman. He owned that role. Like, there's not going to be another Black Panther. Really, it's Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
M'Baku should have been the next Black Panther. He was next in line. You could have him fight somebody for the role. I mean, that could be a thing, but they sidelined all the male characters.
No way!
Completely.
No way!
It was completely. And they focused on the females, which, all right, that's fine, but the entire movie. And the other thing was, instead of addressing or continuing to develop the conflict of Wakanda and its relation to everybody else, they create a new enemy who just happens to also have vibranium, who just also happens to be highly technologically advanced, just in the ocean. And these people decide that the first people that they're going to fight against are the other people with vibranium. So, like, it's bonkers, and not for nothing. It just felt like Latino Aquaman, or, you know, Namor, Latino Namor. By the way, the actor who plays the villain, he did a bang-up job. He did good, but it's just kind of...
Wait a minute. Is Namor Quetzalcoatl in disguise? Because from what I remember from Marvel Comics, is Namor is the king of Atlantis.
Yeah, we don't talk about Atlantis.
We don't talk.
Yeah,
we don't talk about Atlantis. No.
Yeah. Marvel doesn't.
Listen, man.
Marvel doesn't want to get sued.
So I saw. I have not deigned to watch this farce of a movie. Namor in classical Canaan is the king of Atlantis, and he's not like an Incan, Aztec, pick your pre-Columbian kingdom, Mesopotamian freaking kingdom. God.
You know, it was like, okay, so Black Panther set up this horrible dynamic, like the conflict of Wakanda versus the rest of the world, Wakanda versus white people, Wakanda versus the Europeans.
Wakanda versus Africa, because they kept the rest of Africa in Stone Age technology.
Right.
Well, they had
everything.
Post-future technology.
Right. Instead, you make a Latin enemy and you get the blacks and the Latinos fighting.
Thank God it was a not white guy saying that.
Oh, I mean the Latinos from the water fighting the blacks. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, oh,
water
God.
Latinos.
So, like, like water Latinos. So we went all the way so stupid, so far one direction, it came out the other way, ends up being stupid. So I talked with the two friends that I went with, and who were both, again, people of color, and we all talked about it, and we were all...
You can say they're black guys. That's still safe to say.
Well,
it's black with a capital B now, for some reason.
One was Caribbean, the other one wasn't.
Oh, it's a capital C then. But go ahead.
Yeah. It was just, we were all talking about it, and, you know, like, both of them felt like the males were disrespected, and both were like, why are we fighting the Latinos? Like, it was not like one person convinced the other.
But it wasn't even like low key. Like, Namor shows up with a full Aztec priest collar on. It's like,
again, he looked
who the hell is this guy?
By the way, he looked good. The actor was good.
The actor was good, I will agree, but Namor is not
it's not
a South American guy. So, he's a pasty white dude with a widow's peak and wings on his feet.
What, you're telling me that he can't get a tan being thousands of feet underneath the water?
No way.
What?
Wait a minute. What was that other film that just came out with a very dark complexioned mermaid who lives under the sea, and who's not pasty white and also blind, because, you know, most deep sea creatures that are below the light level don't have eyes anymore.
There's too much science.
Oh, and are super carnivorous, so Prince Eric wouldn't have stood a chance.
Prince Eric is going to eat him up.
He's going to get eaten alive.
That's Cthulhu level. Yeah. We're watching this almost 3-hour movie, and I'm just like, what is happening? Also, one of the crazy things is the good guys, the Wakandans, would make...
Would it be Wakandai? Is it like octopi? Wakandai? Wakandans? Okay.
They would make dumb moves. Basically,
I'm sorry, but this German wine is kick-ass, and you should have some with me.
I can't. I gotta drive. Oh, but at points in the plot, the Wakandans would just do dumb things or make dumb decisions purely to make the bad guys look good. Which...
Listen, man.
Every time that happens...
Terrell, I am terribly sorry. I have this habit of interrupting folks. You've heard me do it many, 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 many times before. Disney has started this trend of the hero or even the anti-hero or the non-hero fails upward because the bad guys are more incompetent.
Yeah.
And that's what you're talking about, was what happened.
This was where the bad guys accomplish things because the good guys just...
are ignorant or don't care or don't focus on the problem.
Just make bad decisions. So there's... It happened enough times because... No one should be infallible because that's boring. If the good guys are always...
But not everybody can be Superman. Yeah, right.
So that's not the case here. I'm saying the writing intentionally made the Wakanda people look worse. And I also felt that by making the enemy also a technologically rich state with vibranium too, you kind of make Wakanda less special. At the end of the day, Wakanda Forever makes Wakanda feel significantly less special and unique. And I don't know how...
Right. The original Black Panther movie was like, whoa, Wakanda has vibranium. And this 2% of vibranium went into Captain America's shield. And I think a little bit went into a Winter Soldier's prosthetic arm.
Shoulder, yeah.
But beyond that,
whoa,
nobody
gets it.
Has the tech or even knows what vibranium is. Maybe Tony Stark did because I think in... Iron Man 1 or 2, he had the prototype cap shield that he was using as a support. But beyond that, vibranium... By the way, this is all hot take tonight, folks, so there's no editing. Vibranium is supposed to be ultra rare.
Crazy rare.
And a high-end commodity that you're not going to find in the rest of the world.
Yeah, it's basically magic metal.
Yeah, it's magic metal.
And it's okay, imagine if... One day you wake up on a CNN, you find out that there's a kingdom in Africa that's 500 years advanced, more in tech than you have. Oh, and they have a material that you can't even dream of.
And meanwhile, the rest of you have been roughly Stone Age technology, warlords and all that crap, and digging in the dirt to try and eke out an existence when. I don't know, what's the stat, 78% poverty?
South Africa was able to have its apartheid and no one said anything.
Right, or the rest, even though they're republics or whatever. Yeah. I don't know, 78. I'm picking a number, but I'm pretty sure I'm close. Is 78% poverty level where they're living in huts and have to walk miles to get clean water and things like that. And look, I'm a nation that has this post-futurist tech. But because I need to be quiet about it, the rest of you are going to suffer. You know what this is, Terrell? I'm using racism to fight the racism.
Hey, fire with fire. I mean, you can only fight hate with more hate, I guess. I mean, that's the 40K way.
We're going into 40K lore?
We got to segue in.
Oh, no. We haven't even talked about Andor yet, and we're 25 minutes. This is going to be a hot take. Howlcast, folks, because this is Lone Wolf, and I'm pretty sure I'm not editing shit because I am deep into my cups tonight.
Lone Wolf, they killed Yarick. Angron killed Yarick.
Listen, all right, for those of you that don't know, Terrell is my brother. There's no other way to describe it. There is some, not even deep lore, but some lore coming out in the new, is it the Orcs?
Astra Militarian.
The Imperial, I'm just going to call it what it used to be called, Imperial Guard Codex, that off-screen, not even the third act, cool shit happening, Yarick dies. And he dies not by Ghazghul's hand, which we've learned before that Ghazghul takes the mortally wounded Yarrick, puts him in a shuttle, and sends him back to Imperial space because me love you.
No, because good enemy's hard to find.
No, me love you. That was me love you.
Well, I mean, he said good enemy hard to find.
And off screen in like a not even a writer's note, but like a producer's note, Yarrick dies at the hand of Angron. And there is so much outrage out of this. And I'm not even an Imperial Guard guy. I'm a Blood Angels guy from 19-something. And I'm blown away that such a pinnacle character as Yarrick is killed off screen. Like, imagine this. Imagine Tyler Durden dies off screen in Fight Club. Or imagine Yoda or Darth Vader or even Obi-Wan die off screen.
Is unacceptable. But it is unacceptable. I reject this lore. But
wait. Hashtag not my lore.
Not my lore, yeah.
Hashtag not my lore.
Hey, listen.
We started that tonight. You heard it here first, folks.
All right, we got to go back to, because we can go on 40K and everyone will just be like, all right, I'm done. We're done with this podcast.
I'm pretty sure that's where I think our one handful of listeners check out is when you and I hit 40K. Andor. We're going to Andor.
So I'm going to say this right away.
Wait. Spoiler alert?
No spoiler.
No, it is a spoiler because the series just ended a couple days ago.
I'm not going to say anything story-wise.
Well, I am.
Okay, well, let me say.
Listen, spoiler alert, jackass.
Okay.
Right. Spoiler alert. Continue.
I like looking at things and reading about the business side.
Jesus, this German wine is really good.
And one of the craziest things that's going on right now with Andor, it is by far the best thing, Star Wars-wise, that Disney has made.
Maybe next to Mandalorian.
Yeah. Because Mandalorian saved the franchise, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but you still got a Jedi with a lightsaber. What does Andor do?
I'm not saying. You say it.
All right, well, you heard it here. Yeah, hot takes, and I've been drinking a lot, so too bad, folks. There's, oh my gosh, oh my creator, no Force and no lightsabers at all in Andor. And you know what? It works. It feels and reads like the French. Yeah, make all the jokes you want. It feels like the French resistance during Nazi occupation and the severe and extreme level of spycraft involved to make the resistance a reality. That's how it feels to me watching the whole series.
So there's zero question about the quality of the show.
Indeed.
Here's the shocking part. No one's watching. The ratings on this show are so abysmal, there's probably not going to be a season 2.
Well, here we go, Terrell. We got to get our 10 listeners to start watching Andor.
There's Disney doesn't know what to do. Lucas Films doesn't know what to do. Nobody knows what's going on.
And then Bob Iger comes back in the middle of this.
They're on social media. They're begging people to watch. No one's watching this show. People with Disney Plus memberships are not watching this show.
I've gone on my own social media and told people to watch this because it is superior. It is vastly superior to the other dreck that is being put out on regular broadcast TV, on other streaming platforms. It is really a thinking person's show where you have to follow every little plot twist and character arc to understand what's happening. It's also it's not fed to you on a platter.
So along with no Force, no lightsabers, the directors and writers had a prerogative saying no jokes. There's not a single joke in the whole show.
I think there might have been some situational humor where there's a laugh, but there's no slapstick, there's no Odd Couple, there's no Three Stooges nonsense. It is pure drama.
War story. And no one's watching.
That might be a spoiler for what comes up in Rogue One, maybe.
Well, I mean, that's It's a prequel, so it's not a spoiler.
I don't know. How do we treat that?
I think it's fine because Rogue One, which is also a good movie.
It's already happened, what, 4 years ago? 5 years ago?
I mean, my point is, no one at Disney, no one at the production studio, no one in the social media understands why the ratings are so abysmal. We're not saying underperforming. We're not saying inconsistent viewership. We're talking people are just not watching it. And
which is a shame.
So, what do you think? Why do you think that might be the case? I have one or two theories, but I'm not confident.
All right. Well, we all know which way I'm going to lean. Is that Kathleen Kennedy didn't have any input, and there's no strong wham in Mary Sue's, perhaps. Although, Dedra Mira...
Good character.
But she's not a Mary Sue. Like, she's clearly someone who's scraped and clawed to her position, and she's competent and intelligent and educated and well acted.
Yeah.
And she's able to see the bigger picture beyond her peers, which we learn, I think, like the beginnings of season 1, where she like gets a piece of tech that was stolen and extrapolates from that, like, okay, this is what's going on just based on me finding this piece of broken tech that was stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Despite her being an imperial bad guy, Dedra Mira is a force to be reckoned with.
Also
because
interesting on
you know what she feels like? She feels like the female version of Moff Tarkin.
She's interesting on screen.
Yes, very much so. Like, she's the bad guy you want to root for.
My theory on why people aren't watching
She's the NWO Hulk Hogan.
I think people aren't watching it because it's a prequel. We already know everyone we see is dies.
Oh my god, that's a super spoiler.
That's from Rogue One.
You know how many people have not seen Rogue One?
Dude, that's a spoiler from the 70s.
Guess what, folks? You heard it here first. Power steering comes in the 70s. And disc brakes.
I don't think it's a spoiler, but I think people heard Andor. They're like, why should I watch about the guy? One, either I saw already die in Rogue One, or two, we already know that like they died getting, the info.
Okay, so there was a lot of controversy about the Rogue One trailers not matching with the movie.
That's
like, for example, we see Jyn Erso not running across a plane per se, but an open area. Yeah. And she's got what looks like, if you're in the IT world, it looks like a server drive that she pulled, and all of a sudden a freaking TIE fighter is chasing her. And we kind of see that scene when she's on the gantry and there's a TIE fighter that comes after her. But we never see the scene where she's running across an open area with the server drive in hand.
It's known as one of the most notorious trailers in modern movie history to have.
That's really modern.
Yeah, I mean, to have so many scenes that aren't in the movie, in the trailer. It's become commonplace to have scenes in the trailer that don't happen in the movie. That happens, but not to this extent. So if you ever see the Rogue One trailer, like, keep an eye out for it.
Wait a minute.
If you want to...
Don't watch the Rogue One trailer. Watch the movie.
Well, no.
Because there's so many disconnects, especially depending on which version. There was like 3 versions of the trailers. And then there was the movie.
My favorite version of the trailer is a fan-made one where they put Sabotage music over the trailer.
Sabotage, you mean?
Sabotage. The Beastie Boys.
It's Sabotage?
Yeah, okay, and it is unbelievably spectacular. When I saw that trailer on fan-made, I was like, I'm going to see this movie opening night.
Listen, brother. And again, Terrell is my brother. There is... You want to talk about deep lore? Like, really? Like, we're in 2022.
Esoteric.
1936 would be how many years ago? 86 years ago?
Yeah.
87 years ago. No, 86 years ago. There's deep lore that the John Williams Star Trek... holy shit, I just lost a lot of cred. Yeah. Star Wars Episode 4 New Hope score lines up with the Wizard of the Oz.
And it does.
Perfectly.
And I don't want to say perfectly, but it does.
No, perfectly. It meets every single song that starts meets up with the score on the first note. There's some if you fucks, wow, I just called our listeners fucks, and this is all going to tape tonight because I can't edit this at all. If you folks look that up, you will see that the original, well, not the original, it's actually the second version of The Wizard of Oz, but I believe from 1939 with not Julie Andrews, somebody Gardner. What's her name? All right, Thrall's shaking his head. Somebody Gardner, who at this point, because I'm really deep into this German wine, which is not wine at all, it's more like molasses. The episode 4 New Hope soundtrack by score, not soundtrack, damn it. The score by John Williams lines up with the Wizard of Oz movie. If you start both at the same time, the John Williams music will kick in exactly where it's supposed to whenever a song starts in the Wizard of Oz movie.
Why aren't people watching Andor?
Why aren't Peachel? Folks, I've been drinking. Tonight was a party night with a bunch of family and people that are closer to me than family. And I apologize. There's a lot of top shelf bourbon, whiskey, rye, wine, and mead.
In front of our faces right this second.
Yeah, and literally sitting on the table right in front of our recording equipment. I, for one, am drinking, but I think Terrell has given up the ghost. Andor. You should watch it. Andor is I would call it a masterpiece. It's even better than The Mandalorian because the writing is on point. You're talking about like a slumdog, but it's even like what's happening behind the war because you don't see the war. You see what's happening behind the war. You see the slumdog who's initially in it for the money, and then he's hunted because he doesn't want to embrace the cause. He wants to take the money and leave. And then by the end, he's convinced he should join the cause because of events that happen. I don't want to spoil it because the season just ended a couple days ago. But because of events that end in the finale, he's now convinced he should join the cause. And the spycraft, I would say it's written expertly well. Like, for example, we see a couple scenes where a character needs to place a communications jammer. And the jammer, surprisingly, doesn't fail. The character places it, the equipment works. There's a scene where some characters need to jump into like a downward shaft. Not really. It's kind of like a shaft they have to jump into. None of their equipment fails. They make it. You know, it's more like the behind-the-scenes planning of the spycraft and the depth of that spycraft that drives the series. You do find at the end of the season finale what the hell they're building parts for, which I had surmised, I think, 1 or 2 Howlcasts ago. But it is so worth the watch. Diego Luna is impeccable in his role where his demeanor changes and his voice changes and his emotions run the gamut of loss and triumph and skulking around in the darkness. You should totally watch Andor.
That being said, I have another theory on why no one's watching. I think...
Not strong women?
I think Disney has trained the audience to ignore everything but Mandalorian. Like, we trust The Mandalorian to be good, and we don't trust anything else Disney makes to be good.
We should trust Andor. It's freaking amazing.
I'm just saying, like, look what... Before Andor came out, look what the audience has been treated with. Like, basically constant garbage. Other than Mandalorian.
Wait, the Book of Boba Fett wasn't good?
I mean...
The only person who was competent in that was Fennec Shand. And Luke Skywalker, and he was off-scene because he fought Fennec Shand, and that's the whole reason she gets the cybernetic parts.
Also, no one ever explained why Fennec Shand, like, hung out with Boba Fett. Like, she was completely better. She could have just done anything on her own.
Well, he does find her when she's dying.
Yeah.
And I think he carries her
he
to
saves her, like, but it's
Mos Espa or Mos Eisley.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I my second theory is that Disney's trained its audience not to trust Disney.
No, not Disney. Kathleen Kennedy.
Well, I mean, Disney. And
they got rid of Gina Carano, who was an amazing part in freaking Mandalorian.
Yeah, but that's another. I mean, we talked about that already. My main thing is, like, what if the reason why no one even gave Andor a shot was, is it Mandalorian? No, doesn't have Baby Yoda. No, okay, we're not. I mean, I don't care. And that's maybe why no one
called him Baby Yoda. How dare you? Wait, let me get closer to the mic. How dare you?
Listen, it's good. I mean,
Baby Yoda forever.
Baby
Oh
Yoda.
wait, the stupid ass new movie should have been Baby Yoda Forever.
I
would watch Baby Yoda Forever. If he literally sat at the Jedi Temple and meditated the whole time while the Mandalorian, oh my god, I forgot his name, and my street cred, my nerd cred right now is into the negative.
We should cut this off. We're both declining. It's 1 o'clock.
No, it was. Listen, the Mandalorian defended Baby Yoda while he was in that Jedi. It wasn't even a temple. It was like a promontory.
Something. Hey, I'm just okay. Stick with Andor. No one's watching it. It might not even get a season 2.
Listen, watch Andor. If you want to be impressed with not only acting, writing, story and cinematography, you need to watch Andor. You will be blown away. You'll be knocked out of your socks because, spoiler alert, there's a point when the characters can't wear shoes and socks. So you'll be literally blown out of your socks. Watch the show. It's amazing what they accomplish.
I actually do recommend hate watching The Woman King and Wakanda Forever and
we should watch that tonight.
It just hate watch just because you can't believe what's going on. Like, you're like, who approved this?
Wait a minute. You mean I can't jump into the air on one shot and stab one guy, punch another guy, and kick one guy effectively in one jump? I mean, as a chick who's like 30 pounds lesser than the other guy she's
unless
fighting.
His name is Jet Li, I don't want to see it.
Or Bruce Lee, but what are the chances
Bruce
that
Lee
happening?
didn't do those jumps. He didn't do that.
Oh, wait a minute. Final take here. Hot takes. My brother. I'm a huge fan of Bruce Lee. Yeah, and I just DVR'd Game of Death. And
holds up.
No. What? Yeah, shut up. You need to leave right now.
The fight scenes with him in
It's not him. Oh my god. Well, folks, you've heard it first here. I'm about to drop some knowledge on
No, I know. It's a body double, but like
no. It's worse.
What do you mean?
So it opens between
I forgot. Game of Death, it's been a while.
It's the fight, not Enter the Tiger, not Enter the Dragon. It's this, I can't remember the title right now, folks, and I do apologize. It's the scene where Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee fight to the death, and Bruce Lee, of course, is victorious. So Game of Death opens where that scene where Chuck Norris is a stunt double now, and Bruce is not Bruce Lee, but Billy Lee, and they cut to the film crew that's filming this stunt fight. And Game of Death, at post Bruce Lee's death, picks up close-ups of Bruce Lee and injects them into the movie. So for example number 1, what is the legal terminology? Not evidence A.
Exhibit A.
Exhibit A. Billy Lee, or Bruce Lee, but his character's name is Billy, air quotes here. He walks into his trailer and there's some clearly, I would even say, anti-Italian racist guy who looks like a mafia guy is sitting in his trailer, and all of a sudden you see Billy Lee turn, except it's not the stunt double's face. It's a zoomed in, even worse than a Howlcast edit job of Bruce Lee's face saying, "So you're here now." And then it cuts back to the stunt double. And I love Bruce Lee to my core. I am trying to watch this movie, and it is subpar edited together with pre-Bruce Lee death footage added into this post-Bruce Lee death movie of the close-ups being these really ad hoc, hodgepodge edited scenes of Bruce Lee dialogue edited in to talk to whoever the NPCs are. And Terrell, it's really fucking bad. Any last comments, my brother?
Watch Andor.
Here. Watch Andor and drink German wine that I can't pronounce. It's it looks like it might be a Santa Claus wine where it says Krift Kindles marked something unpronounceable. Glühwein made by Gerstachter from Nuremberg. Uh-oh.
Yeah, Nuremberg.
Well, that's a topic we're not going to touch tonight.
Yeah, not drunken at least.
Nope. All right. Again, if you wish to continue the conversation, please like and subscribe, and please comment.
We're going to address or talk about the midterms once the Georgia runoff is over. So that's the reason why.
Yeah, once pro wrestler guy? What's his name?
Herschel Walker.
Pro wrestler, right?
NFL.
Close enough.
CTE test case.
Oh.
Yeah.
Against who? Just for clarity.
Raphael Warnock.
Who the hell's that guy?
He's a incumbent.
Is he sane?
Yeah, he's a pastor. He's a
that kind of loosens the sane.
Well, I mean, he's sane, you know. So he's saying it. So I guess that's the reason why we'll wait.
Hang on. I've been handed a note from our producer.
Oh no.
It says, long dramatic pause. Can I Turininen on dishwasher cooker? I believe the answer. What do you think, Terrell? Yes?
It's a hard yes.
It's a resounding yes. Yeah. Thank you all. Join us again. Please like and subscribe. And as always, please continue. You know what? The hell with this. We had one comment that said, yo.
It was a bot. But we said,
you think it was a bot? Yeah. It might be a real person. All right, listen. No comments equals more 40K, folks. And the reality of a Henry Cavill-led 40K serial movie is closer and closer.
Oh, God.
So if you don't... No, it's supposed to be Oh Allah. God damn it. Sorry. Oh Allah, damn it.
Also, Dark Tide looks awesome.
Dark Tide looks like an amazing game. Cyber Monday is 48 hours away.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dark Tide, folks. All right.
Have a good one.
Good night, everybody.